So I'm gonna try to print the remaining parts of the Galileo 2. I'm gonna print the cowling too in black ASA. This is that profile, super hot profile. It's got 110 bed, 280 nozzle, and no cooling. So it's just inspecting the bed, which is kind of pointless because the LiDAR can't detect anything on that bed. Anyway, and then it'll draw a purge line on the bottom or in the very front, and then a purge line along the back right and back, and then it'll start printing about 15 seconds from now. Here's the purge line, first one. Oh, it's got to heat up the nozzle. It really should be 280. I don't know why it's 275. See if it jumps up. This is all still a part of the automatic calibration and initialization of prints. Chamber temp is still really low, so the print may pull off. It takes a while. There isn't a chamber heater, so it just has to get the heat from the bed. You really want the chamber temp at least 40. Here's that last purge line. Yeah, there we go, 280. I think that's the hottest I've ever printed. But this build plate is tough to print on. It is tough. And the cooling, the aux fan went off, so that's the end of the bed. Any kind of active chamber heating. So the rest is gonna have to, cool. Warm naturally from the bed. And the nozzle too, I guess, or the heat break. And the print started. If it fails, it usually fails maybe, I don't know, between 3 and 10 layers in. If I was looking at it, I could tell by the purge lines if it looked like it was going to complete. Because the ones that did complete, the purge lines were almost clear. They were really, really, really stuck to the bed and hot. And that looks a little. That first layer looks a little tall. We'll see. You know it's going to fail if you start seeing an edge curl, an edge on one of the parts that starts to curl. I don't think this version of Orca can skip anymore. I don't know what happened, but you used to be able to skip parts that failed, so you didn't lose the whole print. Let me see. Let me just. Yeah, I don't even see the button here. I think it used to be right here. It was over here. I don't see it, and I can't scroll down. So, and I got a message on on Bamboo Handy. Now, if I'd have done this in Bamboo Studio, which is right here, it would have allowed me. And I wonder if I can skip it. That should be interesting. I should be able to see the same print in Bamboo Studio. Which I can, but I don't see anywhere to skip parts. But it didn't send the print, so it doesn't even know what. It doesn't even, as far as it knows, what's on the bed for this one is the Postomatic respooler. Well, let me make it bigger. No, there's nowhere to. to Orca. They're very similar. Orca's just got more. It's got more advanced settings. I think. I don't know for sure. I just know it works. It seems to work better with a Voron, so I just use Orca for everything. So it's still on the first layer. I think there's 2 more parts it has to start. And that first layer looks pretty. It doesn't look real shiny, which means it'll probably fail. I think. Usually the parts that first layer looks really shiny if it's gonna complete, but I don't know that for sure. At least it did on the red. I don't think I've had a. Oh no, I did. I tried to do the Postomatic on this build surface, and 2 of the little parts pulled off, and I couldn't skip them. So I just switched over to the engineering plate, which that printed fine. That was a long print. It was a 22-hour print. So I will be respooling the Prusa filament on the bamboo roll, so the AMS can deal with it easier. And I'll use an ASA RFID. I use an old ASA spool. No, I'll use an old ABS spool because I have Prusa ABS, and then at least I'll get Bamboo's profile for ABS. I'll see how that works. I don't know. I've never done it before, so I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. So now it should try to inspect layer 1, which I think it can do because it's not looking at the plate; it's looking at the actual parts. So the chamber temp is now up over 40. But I want to say that the cowling had finished. The chamber temp was up around 50, which it probably will be by the end of this print. Well, it will be, yeah. It'll probably be up to 50 in the next half hour. Oh, it didn't do a. Oh no, it's doing it right now. It's doing a first layer inspection, which is pretty good. It's pretty good about detecting, flaws in the first layer. It's impressive. Usually a little message saying, "Hang on while it's doing first layer inspection," but I didn't get that here. I bet the Bamboo Handy app, which is a little app for your phone and iPad, it would say it there. A new version of Orca. I just got a message today that version 1.8 is out. This is 1.7. So I'll probably upgrade that tomorrow. Upgrade Orca tomorrow. I'll do some research and see if there's any glaring gotchas, or if there's nothing that I feel is beneficial. I'll just skip that update, just because I know 1.7 works very well. And I think it's still a beta, the 1.8 beta. Here we go for layer 2. It doesn't look like any edges have lifted yet, but it usually takes a few layers before that happens. The second layer is usually faster than the first layer, but not as fast as the remaining layers. Yeah, now it's down to 275, so I did 280 for the first layer. I really wanted that to stick. And then 275. 280 is right at the very, very upper limit of ASA. That's what they say, at least. Oh, is that lifting a little? Once it lifts, it's pretty... No, I don't think it has. Once it lifts, it's pretty quick about dragging that part across the bed. is always a treat to have a print fail. That feels great. What are you doing, silly goose? Got this little feral kitty family here, just having a ball. Oh, they are a treasure and a treat. So the cowling's on the far left, and then the remaining parts are the remaining parts. The cowling is the first part it prints for each layer. It'll be interesting to see if the new Galileo 2 extruder can push filament better than the... I don't know what the Voron 0... I think it's a Clockwork 2, but maybe it's just a BMG. I really don't know. But it can... I mean, that one that came on the... It's fantastic. With a high flow nozzle, it can push... I pushed well over 50 millimeters cubed a second, which is... I mean, stunning. I don't know other way to put it, but, stunning for a stock extruder. Good grief. And a stock motor running, stock voltages and stock amps. I think I did increase the amps to the max, was 1.9, and then the driver itself is only capable of 2.1, I think. So there's really no more headroom to go any faster. The guys that do the speed printing, I think they run maybe 56 volts, and probably 2 amps. I don't know what they do with they have to cool the motors. Actually, they don't use it. One guy I know, 24/7, he doesn't use a direct drive extruder. He's a Bowden extruder, so the actual extruder is mounted to the back of the printer. There's a Bowden tube that goes to keep the tool head as light as possible. The lighter the tool head is, the faster it can move. And I think he uses the M4. It's the M4 extruder from Voron, and he's flowed, I think, almost 100 millimeters cubed, which is, that's insane. But some of the others that use direct drive, I think they run the motors, all the stepper motors at 56 volts, but I don't know about the extruder, because you really can't cool the extruder motor, at least not on a speed boat printer. I haven't looked into it that much. I just know that the 24/7 he runs 56 volts on his, I think on all his steppers, and I'm pretty sure the extruder as well, because it flies. I mean, it just flies. Everything flies. It moves so fast you can barely see it. I mean, I made a comment. If you get any faster, it'll be a blur, and then you won't even be able to see it. So it'll just appear like stuff is appearing in thin air because it's moving so fast, and that you're starting to get in the realm of the Star Trek replicators. Who knows? There isn't a little tool head in there making that stuff that just moves so fast you can't see it, which is funny. He's got the first version of a replicator, Star Trek replicator, in a 3D printer. Because it does. I mean, that thing just flies. It's crazy. Crazy cool. Okay, layer 4, and we're looking. I think it's looking pretty good so far. I don't see any squish, but it's still pretty early. But I didn't have any squish or wet filament issues with the ASA that I've dried for 300 hours. At least 300 hours. It could have been more. I don't know. I quit keeping track of it after, I don't know, a week. It's so irritating. Looking good. That print bed is just spectacular. I love it. How it transfers, I guess it just transfers the pattern, because that, you know, the pattern that's on the milk plate that's just refracting white light, breaking it into a different, it's like a prism. It's like, you know, those are little circular prisms on there, and I guess it aligns the plastic molecules in a similar fashion on that first layer to refract light in the same way. How it does that, I haven't a clue. The physics behind that is probably more like wizardry, but it sure is cool. I mean, just like spectacularly cool. When I first saw it, I thought to myself, there's no way. That's got to be some, you know, computer generated graphics to sell some shit. But it was impressive enough that I bet, and sure enough, it works. Well, it's printing something on the cowling now, and it's still on the 5th layer. Maybe the cowling isn't first. I thought, or maybe it just does some parts of the cowling at the beginning of the 1st layer, and then it comes back and does the. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't look at how the slicer sliced it. I just sliced it and started printing. We'll see here in a second, because I'm pretty sure it's. Maybe not. I thought I was about to go to layer 6, but. Looking good. You got this, buddy. You got this. You're doing so good. I'm so proud of you. Go Speed Racer. Look at him. Just taking care of business. And complain. Put up stink, tries his hardest. I'm impressed. Okay, we should be coming up on layer 6 here. Chamber temp is still at 42. I was just guessing that it got up to around 50. I could be totally wrong. It could stay at 42. Because I would have expected it to go up a little. Oh, it says that the target temperature is 42, which means that the chamber fan, it's not on, so it's not pulling in any new air. The fans are right down on the mid right there, the part fan, the auxiliary fan, and the chamber fan. They're all off. There we go, 44. So it is still going up. There we go. Layer 6 just started, and it's on. So yeah, it just kind of prints a little bit on each part, I guess. Because it'll come back to it'll leave the cowling and do the other part, like right there, and then it'll come back to the cowling again. But looking closer at especially the ABS prints, it looks like that first layer is actually glass. It looks like a clear coat. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it could even. I don't even know how it would do that. Make the first layer clear, but it certainly looks that way, because you can see the layer lines. You can see the layer lines clearly, but when you run your finger over it, it's totally smooth. So it's almost like it somehow makes that first layer clear. It somehow gets rid of the red paint. I don't have any idea if that's true or not, but it certainly looks that way. which is extremely cool. It looks fantastic. The ASA wasn't that way. At least the red one wasn't. It didn't look like there was. It was just smooth, and you could see layer lines, but you couldn't see them nearly as well as you could on the ABS. And actually, after looking at it some more, I kind of prefer that. When the tool head moves in a certain way, you get a different glimmer off the stars, and then you can see the layer lines in the print, and they're symmetrical, so they look kind of cool. I think it's a real neat representation of what 3D printers do, how they do their thing. They just basically lay a thin layer of lay a thin layer of a bunch of stripes of line of plastic, squish them together at a real high temperature, and it cools and they becomes a part. It's just the fact that even works is just what, how, and the precision they can get out of it. I mean, I made that little clamp for a soldering iron. I had to build in like a 0.1 millimeter shrinkage factor, because when the plastic cools, it does shrink a little bit, but it was only 0.1. So if I had a hole and I needed for a screw that had a 2.3 millimeter neck, I had to make the hole 2.4 millimeters, and then it was perfect. I mean, it was the screw fit, the screw fit perfectly in there. I mean, it was just amazing. They rate the printers with the dimensional accuracies in microns, and I think a micron is, I think it's 0.000 x of a millimeter, which I don't know how they get that. I don't know where that comes from. But that's what they claim. Hey, baby. I hear you. I hear you, sweet puppy. That sounded like a funny little protest. Oh, that wasn't. That was a coo. They play constantly. Hey, sweet pumpkin, I see you over there, you silly goose. You look just like your mama. Yes, you do. Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, he's cooing for one of his siblings to come play. I think that's a girl. The paws are pretty small. I did see one boy, his paws are gigantic. He's like he lumbers around on them. Still looks good. Layer 8. I think most of the maybe 15 in the first 15 layers is where if it's going to go wrong, it usually goes wrong there. I don't know if I've had anything go wrong once it's gone that far. The first layer has had a chance to do its thing. If it's going to stay stuck, it's going to stay stuck by layer 15. If it's going to break loose, it'll break loose by layer 15. And it will usually start showing signs probably around layer, once you start to see lifting, it's only a matter of a couple layers before it breaks loose. And this view is actually better than looking at it in person, because the wall, the camera, the wall the camera's on is solid, so you can't get this kind of a view. You can look at it straight at the door, but the door is got a smoky glass door on it, which is hard to see through. And the lid, you're looking down on it, so you can't really see this angle. This is a really great angle to see the parts. But this build plate is so shiny, it reflects, so it just can be hard to know where the part actually is. But once you see lifting, then you see something weird. I'm gonna end this video, and hopefully it's going to finish the print great and everything's good.